Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmitty, Swanee and Clarky visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised. All right!
All right! What a pleasure it is to see your faces.
You're like our hype man, our inbuilt hype man with your enthusiasm.
Woo!
Yeah.
Ooh, haven't seen you for ages. How are we all?
Very well,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
And you?
it's good to be back again.
It's great to be back. And why is it good to be back, particularly this week, Clarky? Tell us all about it.
Jeepers. Well, I have the very privileged position of being on holidays this week, which is lovely. But more so, we just launched this week. So lots of people have heard episode number 1. And here we are watching the downloads happen across the world. And amazingly, we've had downloads in 5 countries. So obviously, lots in Australia. Big shout out to everyone in the UK who's downloaded, the US, France, and Monaco, or Monaco. I'm not really sure which way to go with that, but
I can give you a confirmation on that. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Monaco. Right. Let's go with Monaco then. So thank you to everyone who's downloaded. How amazing.
I'd like to say thanks to everyone who's followed us on Facebook and everyone who's liked us. And I'd like to say a big shout out for Lee Clifford, who I put it up on LinkedIn, the worst place ever to promote a podcast. And yet he said, that was funny. Good job, guys.
Oh,
So thanks, Lee.
Yeah, very funny,
and how's
very
our
funny.
week been?
It's been good, I think.
I've been
I
very
would...
happy with what you've
Oh, that's a win right there, Carla.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's not like we've been in lockdown, but school holidays, only 2 weeks, but I'm very happy to have them back at school. Much more harmonious household, thankfully, without children. All done. What about you, Schmitty? What's news in Melbourne? I hear we've got news.
Well, Uncle Dan, and not to be confused with Dan Murphy's, my other favourite Uncle Dan, but Uncle Dan Andrews has told us that as of this Thursday, we're coming out of the world's longest lockdown.
Oh.
Which means I need to shave my legs for the first time in 2 years and probably get my roots done and lose about 20 kilos. But it's grouse.
Well, people often talk about the gifts that COVID has brought the world. Hopefully Trial by Wine is one of those. So let's just see how we go over the next few weeks.
I'm sure we'll read articles about that in the press, mainstream. It's like, oh, the upside of, less pollution, less air travel.
Trial by wine. That's
Yes,
exactly what they're going to say.
yes. And so what's everyone drinking today? Have we got a beverage of choice?
Well, I'll be honest, I pre-gamed a bit
Of
because
course you have.
Uncle...
Well,
Excuse me, I don't always, but because Uncle Dan announced our final... Well, I really hope it's our... I am really hoping it is the last time we get locked down because this has been an arduous and trying situation.
I must say I pity the poor people of Mildura who are in lockdown until midnight on Friday, one day longer than the people of Melbourne. And they had 12 cases in Mildura today. Goodness me.
Yeah. I certainly pity them because no one wants to go through endless lockdowns and but anyway, it's not a competition. So anyway,
Because you guys would have won it. You're streets ahead.
Yeah.
so I was just going to say my sister and I went into the Nook, which is a little space that it's been her COVID project, which has got a little fountain and it's very cute. And we
sounds
drank
lovely.
a bottle between the two of us of the delicious Delatite Wineries Pinot Gris. And what about you, Paulie? What are you drinking today?
Well, we're having last week we went wine tasting just because that's what we like to do on our time away from trial by wine. We like to trial wine, and we ended up at John Gehrig Wines in Rutherglen, and we tasted one of their Chardonnays, so bought a bottle, and it's a 2018 Chardonnay. It's quite nice. We're a fan of it, and do recommend it. So yes, that's what we're having to get us through our
I think you'll find... I love you, but I think you'll find it's pronounced Chardonnay.
Thank you, Shunt. I always
pack of
appreciate you
shunts.
saying that.
Was it from a cardboard box, per chance?
To be fair, I haven't indulged in cardboard box wine for quite some time. Not to say that I won't again, because I'm sure I will, but yeah, just haven't for a while. That's what happens when you've got a job.
I'd be very cautious. That's all Schmitty needs to be on the phone to Dan Murphy sending a bottle, or sorry, a box. Like I did with the Grunch's wife out as a joke. Yeah, the box.
No, I've got my standards. Thanks very much. I mean, Grunters is one thing for old time's sake, but no one needs to drink from a goon bag. Anyway.
Rest assured, though, that if a box does turn up on the doorstep, we'll probably play Spin the Goonie out the back around the clothesline, also known as Goon of Fortune. Anyway, we can tell you about that another day if anyone's interested.
That sounds like a great game. And when we were kids, my mother and my auntie Helga used to, on the houseboat again. So we'd have 4 weeks holiday up there, and they went through so many goon bags that one year my sister blew them all the empty bladders, blew them all up, and made a lilo out of them.
Oh.
We sewed them together.
That's
I made a
genius.
goon bag lilo because we were poor. We were very poor. We didn't have an actual lilo.
Very
we had to make it.
Well, you had a very rich lifestyle.
Well, I don't know what they cost in those days. Probably $3 chuck. That's why it's called that. Anyway, shall we introduce ourselves, guys?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. We can try. Let's see if we can try to get it nicely.
Let's see if we can do it.
It hasn't been our best skill yet, but anyway, let's give it another crack.
Who's going to start?
Who's going first? Yeah. I think Clarky, you should go. You go first,
I'll go first. So I'm Clarky.
I'm Swanee.
And I'm Schmitty.
And together we are
Trial by Wine. All right, so who's got a story for us this week?
Oh, look, I've got a little gem for you. Yeah, it's an interesting one. So I'm going to start this by just talking about the amazing achievements that humans can do when they put their minds to it. And I'd just like you to give me an example of something that humanity has done that you think is amazing. Schmitty, got one?
Yeah, went to the moon.
That is a good one.
Yes,
I'm happy with that one.
Oh,
Was that
sorry,
yours, Swanee?
sorry, Carla. He let me go first.
Being led that way. The pyramid.
Oh,
The wheel.
I was going to say also the wheel is pretty good.
The wheel,
Fire.
miss, yeah.
The pyramids are quite amazing.
I feel like sliced bread is probably right up there. There's some pretty amazing things that we've done. This story is one that, despite all of the learnings that we've had, all of the systems that we put in place, sometimes we just miss the mark completely. This is the story of Mary Joseph. Not Mary and Joseph, for those who are religiously inclined. It's Mary Joseph. So Mary Joseph died in 2011. At the time, she was 36 and living on Reuben Street, Fall Creek in Massachusetts. She was born in Haiti, but had lived in Fall River since 1997. She was a housekeeper at a Rhode Island hotel and had 5 children. She was, by all accounts, vivacious, cheerful, kind, and she was loved. At her wake, friends described her as very bubbly, helpful. She liked to sing and dance. She was always happy. Just like us trial by winers like, right? She'd be a friend of ours, I think. She sounds like my kind of people.
She sounds lovely.
Yes, and there's a lovely little photo we'll put up too, and she looks lovely. Beautiful smile. So on June 26, a sunny, scorching afternoon brought Marie Joseph and her neighbours to Lafayette Park. 4 kids and a few adults cooling off with a swim at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Pool.
When are we talking, Paul? When's this?
So 2011, so 10 years ago. Well, we'll put the photo up, but it shows Mary Joseph standing in the pool's milky mint green water, a friend's daughter cradled in her left arm. The water's cloudiness...
Sorry, milky mint green?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, what's that drink that I like?
Oh, is that like the Malibu Midori and
The
milk?
lime spider, but an alcoholic
Midori milk.
cocktail. What is that?
Midori, it's a Midori and
It's
milk.
probably a Midori milk. Midori milk.
Midori milk. Yes, I feel like that's a little bit accurate. Perhaps
around
not.
RSL 1989. Yeah.
Yeah.
Midori
Well,
milk.
maybe that's what she's swimming in. That the water's cloudiness renders everything below her waist invisible.
And that's important, is it?
It's very important. Yes, you might recall last week I told you that this was a story of,
about keeping your pool clean or not cleaning it or something.
Yeah. This is what happens when you don't. So at this point, before I progress, I'll tell you that my sources for this were heraldnews.com, ABC News, go.com, and crime crawlers, wordpress.com. So that's where I found this one. So on that day, Mary Joseph and her friend's 9-year-old son rode a slide into the deep end of the pool, plunging into 12 feet of water. So it's quite deep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sorry, I'm. This is in a public park, is it? This pool?
It's a public pool within a public park. So the Vietnam Veterans Memorial pool.
And is it a large pool, as in, like, in Australia we think of an Olympic-sized swimming pool? Is that what we're talking?
Yeah, I don't know if it's Olympic size or 25, but it's big enough to have lifeguards.
It's
an actual pool. I thought it was like a reservoir. It's an
actual
pool.
Natural.
No, it's
sorry.
no,
I misunderstood. So why is it Midori and milk?
It's filthy, obviously.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So she's chosen to go into this dirty, murky.
It's a hot day, and she's chosen to go to the public pool with her friends. Unfortunately, it's milky. As I said, so they rode a slide into the deep end of the pool, plunging into 12 feet of water. The boy went down a slide at the pool in front of Joseph, and Joseph grazed him on the head as she splashed down from the slide, according to the Boston Globe. Joseph attempted to apologise, but she couldn't because she started sinking, according to the boy. He tried to grab her, but Joseph had already sunk to the bottom of the pool. Video taken at the time shows Joseph rose once, took a gulp of air and sank. She rose once more, then sank and did not surface.
Do we know if
did she sink or did someone pull her down?
She sunk.
Okay.
So, little boy
Yep.
sees Mary Joseph sink and goes... So he immediately went to a lifeguard, looking for help, as you would, and gets told that she's on a break.
Oh.
So she can't actually do anything.
Sorry. What?
Makes me feel uncomfortable.
Like, for me at work, sometimes I have a break and think, I'm not going to answer that.
Even if someone was dying, you'd answer it.
Well, if it came up and it said someone's dying or someone might be drowning or this is an emergency, of course I would answer it.
Yeah, exactly. And a lifeguard, that's their actual job.
Yeah, but I'm on a break.
No. Your job is to guard life.
Yes. So maybe... Yeah, maybe they just should never have breaks as lifeguards. Because...
My niece is a lifeguard and she's very, very serious about it, and she would never let someone drown on her break, let alone her watch.
To be fair, the lifeguard
watch it. That'd be very unusual that if it was a public pool that there'd be a period of time where there was nobody on.
Actually, yeah, that's the point. So she's on a break, but where's the other lifeguard?
Yeah, there should be.
Because there must have been someone.
Yeah. No, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
All right.
We've got to go back to rosters first. We've just got to go shoot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, she was on a break and therefore not being paid. I'm not condoning her action.
Do you not get paid on a break? Because I get paid for my breaks.
Well, it depends. Maybe it was a lunch break where you don't get paid for versus your morning tea or afternoon break.
Okay.
I don't know the ins and outs of...
and it's America, yeah? It's America.
Yeah. Okay, so after that, he went to another lifeguard who told him that they were going to do a pool check in a minute. Time's critical. Someone might be drowning. Just give me a minute and then we'll be fine.
Tick.
I don't think that these lifeguards were ever nippers in Australia, do you?
No.
They weren't doing Sunday mornings down with the big surf trying to learn how to stay.
They certainly were not on Bondi Rescue because no one's waiting a minute. Sorry, son. I'll just wait a minute and then I'll save that person. No.
It would certainly make for an interesting episode. Oh, we're not waiting there on Smoko.
I think it'd make for an episode that will be submitted to a court of law around negligence. But anyway.
Yeah. I guess, when you work in places like that, maybe you don't have drownings very often. Maybe you have a lot of false alarms, all those kinds of things, possibly.
So where do you think of, whenever I think of an American pool, this is probably not a country club kind of situation, I guess. But I always think of Caddyshack when they have the pollywaffle in the pool and they think it's a poo. I remember seeing that as a, 10-year-old or 8-year-old. And that was the funniest thing that I had ever seen. And it has stayed with me as a memory. I could not believe that was actually in a movie. I just thought it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Pollywaffle in a pool.
Yeah, and even if it was Mr. Hanky, so it was actually animated and it was kicking around and screaming, you might still go, you know what, I'm not going to rush to save that. But we're talking about a lovely woman who, anyway. So, police also confirmed the boy notified 2 lifeguards separately immediately after the incident, around 2 p.m. on Sunday, but no action was taken. The boy's mother, Danielle Hunt, 30, said in an interview that her son keeps saying he wishes he were bigger so he could have saved the woman.
Oh, that's so sad.
Oh, I know.
That's
so
awful.
Sad.
Paul, this is an awful, sad story. Anyway, keep going. I'm waiting for the funny bits.
Oh, no.
So, he's sad because he saw the last moments of Marie's life when he was trying to do something nobody listened, Hunt said.
Oh.
And I must agree with him.
Awful.
So,
be traumatised for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor little darling. Oh.
So I'd like you to just all take a deep breath and listen to this next little paragraph. When Mary Joseph didn't return to their friends' group, her friends, including the woman that drove her to the pool, thought that she'd just walked home from the pool. Her boyfriend even tried to call her that day. She never returned his calls, so he thought she just wanted to be alone.
Perhaps that's suspicious.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Quite possibly, but also, even if it's not, it's just awful.
Just bear in mind that this is a story of mediocrity. So
mediocre people.
Yeah, people who perhaps don't take their jobs very seriously.
But her friends didn't take it seriously. It's not just the people who don't take. Oh, sorry. Are they part of the people who don't take their jobs seriously?
So once everyone left for the day, and the lifeguards closed up that evening, Joseph remained at the bottom.
Oh.
Like, seriously?
Oh.
Then the pool reopened for business the next day on Monday. Oh, God.
Yeah.
And a crowd of swimmers enjoyed the water the entire day, unaware that just below their kicking feet, Joseph's drowned body was sunk beneath the surface.
Oh, my God. Because how long does it take for a body to start to swell up that it lifts itself?
We'll get into it.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure in general, but in this specific case, we'll find out very soon.
Did you say in this specific case?
I said in this specific case. Why are you asking?
I was just checking. That's what I thought I heard. I was just checking.
Yes.
What specifically do you mean by that?
And we may be having pumpkin biscotti for dinner.
Delicious. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, go on.
So, as we just established, the pool was open for the whole of Monday and she remained at the bottom. The same happened all day Tuesday. People enjoying the pool as anybody would.
Yuck.
Yep. 6 lifeguards were on duty in the time period that Mary Joseph's body floated in the cloudy water, and none of them found her. Now, the reason it's important to, at this point, acknowledge 6 lifeguards, because there are processes the pool had to follow as part of their own regulations.
Right.
I won't tell you about that now, but just remember this for a little bit later.
Okay.
Because remember, this is a story of mediocrity, complacency.
Failure to do your job.
What you've been alluding to the fact that, like, when you start a shift or when you're the first person there in the morning, you make sure no one's gone in overnight. No one's gone in before you leave.
I just had a thought about, it's a bit like being a lollipop lady, and when the kids start to cross from school going, oh, sorry, I'm on my break, you're going to have to do it yourself. Air traffic controller, sorry, mate, I'm on my break. Just
smash.
that
Just
A380 over
crash.
there.
Whatever. Yeah. 300 lives lost, whatevs. Yeah. I was on my
Paramedic, I know
break. I'm on my
I
break.
know you're dying a bit, but I've got to have a break now. So, in addition to the 6 lifeguards who worked throughout that, you're not going to believe it, but 2 health inspectors came on Monday to evaluate the pool and test its water.
Ugh.
They didn't find her.
But what's interesting about that is if that water was that colour, they should have found that there was a problem with the water and closed the pool based on general sort of chemistry.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
I
it?
don't even need to test it because
Yeah,
I've got
I can see
eyes
it, yeah.
and I can't see the bottom.
Thanks for coming. How are we going to fix it? A couple of bucket loads of chlorine?
No, well, my eyes say that Midori and milk is not a good thing that anyone should be swimming in.
Unless you're at a, like one of those really affluent parties, excessive parties where you've just literally filled the pool with Midori and milk. And
That sounds like an effluent party to me.
And by the end of the night, we want to have drunk it empty.
Like something out of Gatsby. But
Yes,
I mean,
I was
I
thinking
keep,
that.
Yeah.
I keep picturing this F. Scott Fitzgerald Gatsby-esque party of Midori and milk-filled pool.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's
But
not.
that's not where
But
we
it's
are.
not.
No, I know. Ugh.
So,
Okay.
so as I said, the 2 health inspectors on Monday didn't find her, and neither did the other health inspector that came on Tuesday.
Why are there
6
so many
life-
health inspectors coming to this
Probably
pool
because
also?
people are complaining about the pool quality. I don't know, but 6 lifeguards, 3 health inspectors, all they found was cloudy water.
And the cloudy water predates her, right? It was already cloudy when she went in.
Oh yeah, yep.
I can't believe the pool's open. Anyway.
We're going to unpack how we got to this state. So, it took 2 children that jumped the fence for a swim late Tuesday night to find her body floating in the pool.
Oh, God.
It's not clear how many people saw her body in the pool between when she drowned and when she was found. I know the water's not clear. I'm hoping it's clear that nobody saw her
Well,
floating.
no one
or
reported it,
submerged.
apart from the 2 children.
So the next little bit I'm going to title "The Experts Have Their Say," because there's always experts. William Flanagan, Mayor of Fall River, called Joseph's death tragic, and said he was demanding an investigation.
Can I ask a question quickly, Paul? So if they went for the swim on the Sunday, okay.
Yep.
Did her friends or anybody report her missing?
No, they went home.
But like on
They thought-
Monday or Tuesday?
No,
Yeah.
no. Oh, my
No,
God.
even her boyfriend rang her and thought that she just wanted to be alone.
But that was Sunday. If the body's not
Yeah.
found till what, Tuesday night?
Yeah.
I would have thought at that point someone would
It
have
was
said,
not
look,
reported
we haven't
missing.
seen her since she asked went into the pool. Nothing.
Actually, to be fair, I shouldn't say she was 100% not reported missing, but none of the articles I mentioned earlier referred to her as being reported missing. Other than by the little boy to the 2 lifeguards who...
We're on a break.
One was on her break and the other one was, we'll check it in a minute.
Okay. Right.
So, Mayor of Riverfall, William Flanagan, said, "It's come to my attention that health inspectors from the city visited the pool on Monday and Tuesday and inspected the facilities. I have immediately placed those inspectors on administrative leave." I don't even know what administrative leave is, but they're on it.
It's all their fault.
If you're a policeman and you're on administrative leave, you can't go and do the sexy policeman work. So I guess if you're a pool technician, you can't go and check the water at other pools. So you're being really punished there, aren't you? We're going to put you on administrative duty. Oh, my
Yes.
God. Okay.
Shocking, right? Shocking. So he added that the city plans to offer assistance to the State Department of Recreation and Conservation, which manages the pools and is conducting the investigation. It's really nice that he's offering that assistance. I feel like that's not something you get to offer. Like, it's just expected and demanded that you would not try to cover this up.
No, quite right. Yeah.
But really good of him to offer the assistance. Everyone who worked at the pool is also on administrative leave. I'm reading into that the pool is shut.
I'm
Like,
not.
nobody's working at that pool.
Or it's pre-game.
No one was working there anyway, although they were supposed to.
No one was
Right,
doing anything.
well,
I'm not reading the pool shut. I would like to know if it actually was genuinely shut. I have to come back to a poo in a pool, but we lived in an apartment in Europe that had a pool that was like part of the complex, and
Yeah.
a child did poo in the pool, so the whole pool had to be drained. And it didn't happen once, it happened maybe twice over 6 years, but the entire pool was drained. And that was the process that they had to, that was the protocol, because the small child had like a poo leak out of a nappy. And I'm guaranteeing you, if there was a body that they'd found in the pool, I'm pretty sure they would have drained it for that reason as well.
Carla,
alone
I
getting-
swam in that pool, and there was
You
no
did,
way
darling.
you would not have missed a dead body in that pool. It was absolutely crystal
Yeah.
clear.
I still called it the Caddyshack pool.
But having said that, I'm very impressed that they drained it when someone had a little bit of poo leakage. Not even a polywaffle.
Oh, not a
They-
polywaffle. No. No, it was very, very hygienic. It was cleared out every...
That was a
winter thing.
beautiful pool. It was a beautiful place.
Yes.
That's not what we're talking about now. Is what
No,
pools.
so back to
No, but it is
Massachusetts.
relevant. So, Carla, to your point about everyone who worked at the pool is also on administrative leave.
Yes.
It doesn't say when they're on administrative leave from, and possibly have been for the last 6 months, and that's
What?
why no one's noticed anything, right? So I think Carla was asserting that they were being paid, they weren't working. So, and I feel like that's...
So it's business
Oh,
as
you mean they
usual.
weren't working
Anyway.
when this happened as well?
They weren't
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
job when they were being paid to do the job.
Well, no, they were on break, Paul. They were working. They just weren't on break. They were on break.
Correct.
I'm just
I'll
busy,
get
right?
to it in a minute, okay? Someone's drowning. Whatevs. I've got something else to do.
Well, I haven't seen anyone drowning. I've just heard someone complaining that someone's drowning, so that's not even proof that someone's
People in
drowning.
Massachusetts never stop complaining. This is awful. This is awful. That was sarcastic, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, you
Just
might
be-
need to explain
be
that.
real clear.
That's a bit of Aussie humour.
Real clear. I was being sarcastic. This
Yeah.
is bad negligence. Okay.
This is not a
not cool.
an indictment on the people of Massachusetts.
No.
It is an indictment on the way this pool was run.
That's disgusting.
So he also said investigators are now watching surveillance tapes and doing interviews to see how this could possibly happen, which is really good, right? It's good to investigate and try to understand this.
Yes.
However, Lady Justice 84 from Crime Crawlers doesn't need to do this. She believes it has something to do with the lifeguard not listening to the little boy,
Yeah.
the health inspectors not doing their jobs right, and her friends not looking for her.
Yeah.
Lady Justice 84 is our kind of people, right?
Lady Justice.
Lady Justice
84
from Crime Crawlers. Yeah.
Okay.
Watch all the videos you want, but I'm fairly confident you're going to come up with the conclusion that the lifeguard wasn't listening to the little boy, the health inspector's not doing their jobs right,
They fucked
and her
up.
friend's not looking for
They
her.
fucked up. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone fucked up. Yeah.
Simples. So, given that this is also, remember, titled The Experts Have Their Say, the medical examiner completed an autopsy, finding that Mary Joseph did indeed drown Sunday and was at the bottom of the pool of the entire 2 days. The investigators are saying that the murky waters probably did conceal her body, and added that a diver wasn't visible after being at a depth of 3 1/3 to 4 feet under the surface of the water. Dirty pool.
Filthy pool. A meter.
And it's 12 feet deep.
Yeah. So
And you can't be seen at 4 feet.
a meter's 3.3 feet.
3 1/3.
Yeah.
3 1/3 is a meter.
Yeah. And they couldn't see a diver at that point. Excuse me.
Outrageous.
It is outrageous. And excuse me, you have 2 health inspectors because the place is so dirty, and they're like, everything's fine. Like, anyway.
Yeah,
But-
clean your filters.
But I feel like a little bit to
Chlorine?
Lady Justice 84's
Chlorine?
point.
Anyone? Chlorine? Anyway.
To Lady Justice 84's point, the murky water probably did conceal her body. That's investigators saying that. Probably. No one can see 4 feet below a pool that is
course it
12
concealed
feet
her body.
deep. What else concealed it? Either everyone saw it and didn't give a shit,
A magic rug.
or it was concealed because it was filthy. Like, come on. I feel like it probably is not used correctly in their report.
I feel like
I
you're
don't know
correct.
nothing about making babies.
I don't know
nothing
nothing
about-
about water and shit, but I feel like if you can't see something,
Stuff can be concealed by not being able to see stuff, and stuff can be concealed by other stuff. I just don't know what it is.
I know nothing about how to manage a pool.
Yeah. So, the facts. This is the facts, right? We like facts because it just helps you understand things. The facts appear to indicate that a woman was in the water for a number of days and not noticed by staff, patrons, or other inspections that may have taken place, said State Energy and Environmental Affairs Secretary Richard Sullivan, whose department oversees state-run pools. Or apparently doesn't. And I'll say it again just because I think it's ridiculous. The facts appear to indicate. They're facts and they appear to indicate. Either they're facts or just the information appears to indicate. You can't have both. That a woman was in the water for a number of days and not noticed by staff, patrons, or other inspections that may have taken place. We know that inspections did take place. Inspections, maybe really...
Walked in, walked out. Hi, how are you going? I'm on my break. Okay, bye.
It's too cloudy for me to inspect, so I'm just going to have to leave.
Can you put a couple of fucking...
I'm sorry. Stuart's overcome. Go on, Stuart.
Yeah,
Take a breath.
Schmitty, I'm gropable.
It's okay. Take a breath. Tell us what you want to say.
He is gropable.
I'm gropable.
That's what my sister always says about you, Stuart. Anyway.
Yeah, your sister does always say that. Hi, hub, we love you.
What was it? Nothing that a what, Stuart?
Bucket and a half of chlorine wouldn't fix.
Yeah.
Point made.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that the pool guy, the pool technician, he must have come and checked the water, those little sample kits. But the thing is, it just annoys me that wasn't addressed as an issue. I cannot believe a pool that was that dirty was allowed to be open. I mean, it's just...
Wait till I tell you about their own processes for managing pool water.
Right, I'm all ears.
Detail.
And the amazing job they did. But I'd just like to continue with the expert commentary because...
Sorry, just my own personal experience. Down the road, Queen's Park, between the months of about May and October, Queen's Park is...
May and not May?
No, May and October. Queen's Park pool, which is an open Olympic-sized pool, by the way, isn't used. So they close it and it gets filthy dirty. It's full of green algae. It's disgusting. But they drain it out, they clean it out, they fill it up, and it's lovely come summer, and it's full of chlorine, and it's not murky.
So,
you get in it, you can see your legs. Just saying.
I think that's just the general concept of a public pool, Caroline. I don't think that's going beyond... I think most people could grasp that, except these people in Massachusetts, it would appear, because that's kind of how it works.
But not in Massachusetts.
Keep the water clean, exactly. Keep the water clean and keep the people out.
These people are swimming in disgusting filth and thinking that's okay. That's normal.
I just want to make
it's
the
not normal.
Point, though.
People in Monaco, France, the UK, the US, and Australia who listen to our podcast, it's not normal. Do not.
No. Well, maybe we should be saying, is it normal? Because from our experience, it's not. But do tell us on Facebook if you think this is normal.
That's right. You write to us and tell us that you think it's okay to swim in Midori and milk, because we don't think it's okay.
Or if you're sick of writing to your local council because that's the state of the pool that you swim in, let them know about this story.
Yeah.
Oh, poor woman.
Anyway,
sorry, Paul, go on.
No, don't. It's good. I just wanted to make the point though about Queen's Park. So you say that's normal, but it's only normal because there are those processes in place.
It's my normal.
And then people follow them.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind because this is not a story of Queen's Park versus Massachusetts, and I know you're not saying that, but I just want to make sure that everyone in Massachusetts knows that. It's a story of people not following process because they have similar processes, and we'll get to those. But just to continue with the theme of expert commentary, because there's nothing like an expert after the event. In other expert commentary, BJ Fisher, whose name does make me laugh just because it's BJ, head of the American Lifeguard Association, told ABC News today that cloudy water likely played a major role in the body's apparently going unnoticed. Cloudy water likely played a major role in the bodies apparently going unnoticed.
Not apparently.
Like we're still not that the body factually went unnoticed, just apparently, because clearly the other option is that heaps of people saw it and just did nothing. People don't do that.
It bloody did.
Fisher said cloudy water was a problem facing lots of pools during the summer because the water gets dirty when patrons enter it, and at times the filtration system may be broken.
Remind me to never swim in Massachusetts. In any
Broken.
pool.
As
Broken.
in malfunction.
So you
As
just
in
have to
not
suck it up anyway. You don't have a protocol where the pool would be shut or
Yeah,
chlorinated
no,
particularly for
So
a day.
I've been to pools like at we used to go to a pool in Brunswick where we lived. Love it. It was fantastic. But on a really hot day, you get 80 bazillion people going through
Yeah.
it, and by the end of the day, we used to say it gets a bit soupy.
Yes, I
it's
would
not-
agree with
you
that.
can
Not a
see the bottom.
sunscreen. Yeah, a home pool. It's the
Yeah,
same
yeah, and
thing.
it feels warmer, and a million kids have weed in it and all that sort of stuff.
You get out of
But
the pool, they throw buckets of chlorine in it.
the next morning,
Sorry,
it is
Paul,
crystal
can I just
clear.
ask you a question? Could you still see your legs in that?
100%, you can still see the bottom.
That's right.
So,
And
Yeah, no, but
therein
what I'm
lies the difference here.
But what I'm saying is that we've had a phrase called soupy, which is it feels a bit warm, maybe a few too many skin cells, a lot of wee, whatever. But it's crystal clear the next morning because they managed the pool.
Correct.
The health department was out there. Fisher told ABC News today. They even spoke about the cloudiness of the water.
But if your filtration system's broken, surely you shouldn't be still accepting people inside.
And
Okay,
I
so-
will talk you
okay.
through that whole.
All right, sorry.
No, you're asking all the right questions.
started
I
with-
just
I will
I-
remind you, Paul. You said this is a short story. Please
no.
chip in when you want
I
to, and
I did say
we are
that.
chipping in. And now I feel like you're frustrated, but I'm just chipping in.
I'm not. No, I'm not frustrated at all. What I'm saying is that you're
Brilliant.
asking all the right questions. I'm just going to hold off on answering some of
Yeah,
them,
okay.
but because the story, like the first bit, is horrible, tragic. It hits the end game very quickly, but then there's this whole
Yeah.
what? How did that even happen? So, our mate BJ Fisher
low job. Fisher.
said he knew of at least 2 incidents in which a body went unnoticed at the bottom of a pool.
Ooh.
And he said lifeguards should always be able to see the main drain cover,
I should see the bottom of the pool.
which is where the main drain cover is, right? It's right at the very, very deepest end.
Yep.
But he knew of at least 2 incidents in which the body went unnoticed. So the investigation is this little bit, because, they actually did do some investigation as well as the expert commentary. A report was ordered by then Bristol County District Attorney Sam Sutter. It was prepared by William Macaulay and Patrick Bomberg, 2 veteran prosecutors. I don't know much about those 3, but I'm assuming they're very reputable, and I just am not... I'm not dissing individuals, it's a systemic problem. They reported that the State Department of Conservation and Recreation failed repeatedly to act responsibly. Now, this might shock our listeners, that they failed to act responsibly repeatedly, but that's what the investigators say. Employees repeatedly failed to fulfill their duty to the people they served. I think there's a couple of people who were at the pool that day who would be in violent agreement with that.
I wish someone had have asked me to do this piece of work, because I would have charged, an amount, but I mean, I can't imagine we're going to uncover anything that we haven't arrived at ourselves, or will we? I don't know, but it seems
No,
really obvious.
I don't think we will, but I take you back to Lady Justice 84, who kind of nailed it really quickly without needing to go into all of this detail.
Yes.
Anyway, I think to be fair to Mary Joseph, we do need to do the thorough investigation
Yeah,
because
I think that's right. I think that's right. There's an individual who died, and we need to respect her.
It's just a shame that when people ring up and say this pool looks like a glass of Midori and milk,
Don't swim in it.
no one does anything about it.
It's disgusting.
Anyway.
It's disgusting.
So,
the
the
thing that When you first started the story, and I know you've already corrected me 3 times on this. In fact,
I've already what? Cracked you?
corrected me.
Corrected.
I'll fucking crack you in a minute.
You're frozen.
Pretty sure you've corrected me 3 times on this, but at the beginning of this,
Yes.
because of the way you described it, I really did think it was like a natural environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a hot
Yeah.
spring
No.
kind of thing where they have them in
Yeah.
Iceland or something, where a guy's
Yeah.
doing
It's very much a controlled environment where people just haven't given a
It's
fuck.
Yeah.
disgusting to think of an actual pool, like a
Yeah.
normal human-made
And that's why I wanted you to-
pool that is Midori milk.
That's why I wanted you to think about all the things that people can do really, really well when they put their minds to it. Because despite everyone having put their mind to this, if people just don't follow the process...
No, it's not just follow the process. Take accountability, care, give a bit of a shit. A bit of a shit is what they have to give here.
Correct. The report also said the investigation into Mary Joseph's death revealed a systemic failure in the operation of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Pool. I know you're all shocked.
Quelle surprise.
Again, to Carla's point, didn't really need an investigation to come up with that conclusion. And I feel like Lady Justice 84 would have some very strong words about that as well.
Oh, I'm sure she would.
But guess what it also stated? A series of poor decisions with errors compounding errors, a disregard for regulatory requirements, and a disregard for the proper standard for operating the pool pervaded multiple levels of DCR supervision and management. Isn't that fantastic?
I'm glazing over. I want names. I want to know who the, lifeguards were. Who were the people, the technicians? Do we get to a point where these people are going to be held accountable, or is it just this generic statement where,
It's a very
bummer.
it's a very good question you ask, because there's a lot of wishy-washy
Yes,
going on.
it's all just, that was
and
a bummer.
nobody needed an investigation to work this
Correct.
out.
No,
But
they're all fucking
Carla-
idiots, and they're all half-assed Harrys.
But Carla,
Yes.
given you often struggle with punishment,
Yes.
now is a good time for you to start thinking about who's responsible, what is the crime, and how are you going to punish them.
Fair enough. I think I'm going to be quite harsh this week. Normally, I don't think I am, but I'm
Yes,
annoyed.
bring it on.
I'm very
Bring it,
agitated.
bring
Ollie.
it, bring it, yeah!
I'm appalled by
Take
the lack
those
of...
bitch pills and bring it.
Time Carla came out. That's right.
Jesus.
Not meaning in a gay way.
I'm not sure that's
I
what
don't
we're
mean
talking
as
about.
a lesbian. I just
expecting,
meant
even. Oh,
came
I
out
was
as-
expecting, but anyway.
I mean,
I
Carla.
don't mind a bit of seafood, but I'm not going any further than that.
Why is coming out always about gays? Like, come on, you can't own it.
What else is it about?
Just getting tough, being, coming out of
It's
yourself.
about getting tough.
Coming out of yourself.
Jesus.
Can't own it.
And this is what, listeners, this is what too much pre-gaming will do to you.
And this is what the editor is going to cut out. So, whatever. Moving right along.
The editor doesn't see the joy in laughing at herself. Everybody else does.
I absolutely add a significant amount of piss-taking of Schmitty into every episode. I do not shy away from my own stupidity.
Well, don't edit that bit out then, because that was quite funny. So coming back to your story about Queen's Park, Schmitty, or Carla, to your story about the pool in, was it France or Monaco?
Monaco.
Yeah, Monaco.
Monaco, yeah. So there was no vacuum at the pool when crews arrived in early June. So, to your point, Schmitty, late October or October is when Queen's Park gets cleaned up. Early June, they start looking at the pool, I'm assuming, by this story.
Was this like the usual crew who worked, who look after the pool all the time? There's somebody who's always like a caretaker, or, there'll be somebody who's responsible for it year round. And obviously they have a busier period in the summer. But are we talking about that crew or a specific crew who came in because there was already a problem?
Yeah, so no. So this is The pool reopens in late June, so in early June they start cleaning it up to make it clear.
As they do every year, it's part of their normal process. Right.
Correct, and that was the reason for relating that time to the October timeframe at Queen's Park, where they actually start to turn it from a pond into a public swimming pool.
Yep. No vacuum there when they get there.
Yeah, so when the crews arrived, there was no vacuum, so the bottom, covered with leaves, sludge and litter, was never cleaned because they couldn't clean it. The workers added 240,000 gallons of clean water to the dirt and hoped the filters would clean it. So again, like you said, they drain the pool, they clean it. You just normally get all the shit off the bottom.
Put in a skip.
But the vacuum was broken.
So they left the sludge on the bottom but put clean water in?
Hoping the filters would clean it because, it's like a backup system for a vacuum.
Yeah, and we all know filters work 24/7. You don't need to clean them either.
Yeah. Oh, my Lord.
Oddly, the filters failed. I'm not sure if the filters failed because they didn't clean it or they failed for another reason, but I feel like
they were clogged.
If there's mud and dirt and leaves and stuff on the bottom, filters aren't going to clean that.
It's not all lifted either. You do need a vacuum to get the stuff off the bottom if you're talking about something like that.
That's the point. Yeah, exactly right.
I mean, parts of it go up through the system, but not all of it.
So in our pool, before we clean it after winter, I get in the freezing cold water and I get the leaf scoop and I scoop off all the stuff. And it's actually really good because it's kind of invigorating. It's freezing, but it's a little bit of fun for anyone who likes to get into really cold water.
I will never.
Stuart does not. Anyway, so the filters wouldn't clean it. And the workers were ordered to not add chemicals to clean the water for 10 days.
Why?
What?
I reckon I know why that is.
Why did they do that? What's your idea, Stuart? I've got no idea.
Because if you're adding chemicals and the filtration system isn't working, the paper filter or the sand filter is already blocked, and you have to reverse that blockage. Like you have to take the paper filters out, if you will. Take them out and hose them down to get rid of all the muck that's on the... It's like a concertina...
Yeah, I can picture one. I know what one looks like, but
Harpsichord. Yeah.
Is it what it's called?
Yeah.
Piano accordion thing?
Yeah.
So you have to spray and get all the muck off for the filters to work again.
Which is excellent pool management theory. And I do want to explore this a little bit because in this instance, the filters failed and the workers were ordered to not add chemicals to clean the water for 10 days.
Correct.
What would you do with our pool if it was in that situation?
Exactly. So I would clean the filters definitely first because there's no point adding the chlorine to the pool because it's not going to do anything. It's just going to sit in the...
circulate.
Oh, right. Okay.
It will to a certain extent, but not as efficiently as it should.
Yeah.
Obviously, turn the filter off.
Yeah.
Clean the filters. Yeah. Turn the filters back on.
Yeah.
Load it with chlorine.
Right. And would that take 10 days?
Yeah. That would take me half an hour. Yep. But hang on, I'm not on a break either.
They were ordered not to add chemicals to clean the water for 10 days, allowing the water in the pool to stagnate and turn pea green.
There you go.
So this is before Midori. This is like the pre-Midori.
Yeah, this is in a lead up to Milky Mint.
It's some kind of advocate version of Midori.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Correct. Yes, a fluffy duck, but...
Isn't it
I
advocate?
have no idea what it's called, but
it's advocate.
Advocate is the 1970s sludgy cocktail stuff. Yeah.
Advocate.
Yeah, it's like alcoholic mayonnaise.
You put in fluffy ducks.
And it was in this pool, apparently.
So chemicals were added a few days before the pool opened on June 25, but there was not enough time to clear the water. It was cloudy and visibility was limited to 2 to 3 feet. Listeners, if you were in charge of running the pool and it was about to open like that, I just want you to know, I want to understand what it is that you would do in this instance. Because clearly, we're not all pool managers, but those who are pool managers go, no worries, we'll just open up anyway. The pool opened with cloudy water on June 25, even though state regulations require lifeguards to sink a black and white disc to the deepest part of the pool to make sure they can see the bottom.
Jesus.
The pool opened even though pool managers did not even have the disc available in Fall River.
Oh,
so to the lifeguards' defence, they couldn't sink the disc because there was no disc. A little bit like There Is No Spoon from The Matrix, but nothing like that as well.
Maybe there was a little cupboard out the back that had a vacuum cleaner for the pool vacuum, and this black and white disc just locked up that no one had accessed. I mean,
Quite possibly. Or also, they might have been a new discus throwing arena that had opened up, and that's where all the discs were.
was there a manager of the pool?
Well, it does say that the pool opened even though pool managers did not even have the disc available. So I'm going to go with yes.
It was just a case of massive negligence. It was negligence.
Can put people on the moon, can slice bread,
Can't clean a pool.
Pyramid.
Can't see what's at the bottom of a pool.
can build pyramids, can invent a wheel, cannot
Correct.
keep pools clean. Lifeguards were expected by state regulation to sweep the bottom of the pool after every day of operation. Every day of operation, they were expected to.
Sorry, was that sweep,
Mary
did you say?
But when you say sweep the bottom of the pool, which is
Wait.
like
Does that
look
mean
for
with
bodies?
an implement, or the sweep is you go in the pool and you do a physical sweep? I'm just wondering.
Well, so I would expect that if you are following the disc protocol, and therefore you can see the
You could
bottom
do
of the
a visual
pool,
sweep.
then you're sweeping it because what you're doing is stirring up all of the epithelials and
What does that word mean?
heavy
Because I don't know it.
skin
Skin
cells,
cells.
all the stuff that
The soup.
makes the pool cloudy.
The
You're
food,
stirring that
yeah,
up.
the flavour.
Basically going to make it
So the
soupy.
filtration
You're making it
flavour.
soupy.
Yeah, the bits
rightio, got it.
Exactly, the bits that make it soupy. But you want to get all of that up so that the filter can then do its job.
But
'Cause
that's
if
only if the filter is in.
working order, of course. But so if it's sitting at the bottom, you stir it up, the filter cleans it. If the filter doesn't work, stirring it up doesn't matter. If you can't see the bottom, well, who knows what the fuck's there? And you might stir up to Schmitty's point, Jaws, and then he might come and kill everyone.
Oh
So
no, because it's chlorine and fresh water, so straw should be dead. More importantly, what you might find is an unfortunate drowned person.
most lifeguards would say not on my watch, but I feel like the sweeping of the bottom of the pool wasn't to find dead people. It was to keep the water clean. You shouldn't be in a position where you can't see the bottom, and therefore when you're sweeping, you uncover dead people.
That's all
So, Mary Joseph remained undetected at the bottom of the pool on June 26, 27 and 28. Police divers later found leaves, litter, hairbands, broken glass, eyeglasses,
Band-aids.
and
Bracelets,
Oh, there would have
rings,
definitely been
watches,
Band-aids at the
Band-aids.
bottom of the public pool. Great.
tampons.
yeah. And
Oh,
Really?
too
Too
far.
far.
And to be fair to the people of Massachusetts, it does not say that there were tampons there. It does say, and it doesn't extrapolate, but it does say toys were also found on the bottom of the pool.
Vibrators.
hello.
Dildos.
I've got
Butt plugs.
I've got
plugs.
nothing. It just says toys.
I was thinking
Right.
of, those ones you used to throw to the bottom and you used to dive down to collect?
Quoits. Quoits.
See?
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Toys.
That would have been a very
Yep,
short-lived
dive
game in that pool. For God's sake.
Oh,
I thought you were talking about prostate massages, but go on.
The next little bit, and it's only short, is called the fallout. And this is the bit that drives me nuts, because when people just don't do their job properly, everyone else suffers. So it's not the people who are shit at their job that we all see every day. Everyone wants to give someone a Chinese burn, a slap on the back of the head or whatever at work. That's just the way we roll.
Just do it.
But in this instance, so because the lifeguards didn't do their job, the whole system failed. All the deep water pools in the state were closed by the DCR for inspection. The Fall River pool never reopened. It was rebuilt during that spring, opening the next summer as a shallow pool with no deep end and a staff of 10 lifeguards up from 6. I love the deep end of the pool because you can actually swim at depth. Ugh. But since then, and this is the genius of the plan.
Okay, because we've got a really shallow pool and we need more lifeguards.
Can still drown in shallow
More
water.
lifeguards on their
Yep.
break,
Great.
ignoring you. than
Correct.
prior.
We'll need more lifeguards in a less risky situation than actually holding people accountable to their jobs.
Where is my sandwich?
But in the beauty of how all of this works, when you actually don't hold people accountable, but you just completely eliminate the problem and also the fun, it's operated for 4 years without incident. That's amazing.
Gosh, they must be so proud.
As for Joseph's family, a lawsuit was filed on behalf of her 5 children. The state reached an out-of-court settlement with them.
5 kids.
I don't think the state can reach enough, and I hope those kids had really good legal support, because it's all just messed up.
That's awful.
All messed up.
Thing is, Henrietta, my niece, is a lifeguard, and I wonder what she would say about this.
Can we get her on the phone, do a little bit of Henrietta roleplay?
Henrietta, my niece, has joined us as an absolute expert in this space to tell us what should have happened and what protocol she would have followed in this scenario.
I feel like to take some of the pressure off Henrietta, we should be saying she's not an absolute expert.
So yeah,
but
disclaimer, this is 10 years ago or whatever, so times have changed, and I'm a Victorian lifeguard, so I can't speak to the training to these people, and I'm also going to just go ahead and say whatever I say does not reflect on Victoria, Lifesaving Victoria.
You're a clever girl.
Correct. Yes, 100%.
I love a disclaimer.
The other thing we should say is that this is trial by one, and whilst there are lots of facts used, there are also lots of licenses taken. So, so Henrietta, imagine this. So, poor Mary Joseph has gone off the slide, brushed past the boys she was looking after, apologised on her way down because she's like, oh my God, I think I just about hit you.
Can I just ask a question, because I didn't pick this up before? When they went down the slide, what was her relationship with that boy? Because she said looking after him.
She went there with friends, and
so he knew her.
The boy was.
Yes.
Yeah, he knew her. Yeah. So she was looking after him. So they were at the pool together.
I thought I understood that to start with, and then I've got myself into a bit of headspace where I thought, oh, surely it must have just been a boy that she, accidentally touched.
Yeah, no.
He would have known her name and said, Mary's at the bottom of the pool. I haven't seen Mary come up. And then when the family was negligent in not... Anyway, I'm jumping ahead. I've really screwed that up. I'm so sorry, Henrietta.
No, you didn't. No. It's a really good clarification. Henrietta, so we assume... No, we don't assume. We know that the 9-year-old boy went down the slide. Mary Joseph went down after, connected with him. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to hit you. Went straight to the bottom of a 12-foot deep pool, bobbed back up again, gulped for air, went down again, never came back. So the 9-year-old boy went running to a lifeguard, and he said, oh my God, someone's drowning, blah, blah, blah. Her response was, I'm on my break. Henrietta's response would be...
Well, okay, so... The first thing is, this is obviously not the pool I work at, but we do have as 2 slides, actually. We have lifeguards at the top and bottom of the slide when they're functioning, and only one person can go on at a time. So that's probably...
That doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's probably the first thing that would come up.
Yep.
The thing about her being on the break, as a lifeguard, I wouldn't have just said that. If someone came to me and said that someone was drowning, my immediate response would be to call my manager, because that is what we're told to do.
Hang on, but what if you were on your break?
Okay, so where I take a break, the public can't get to, so I'm going to assume that I'm standing by the pool.
What if you are on your way to a break?
If I am on pool deck, I cannot say I'm on break.
If you're on stairs away from pool deck, would you say that?
I'm saying anywhere within sight of the pool. I'm only on break when I am no longer in view of the pool.
To that point, if someone pushed through the tea room door to where you were having your break and said, oh my God, someone's drowning, would you still go, I'm on my break?
As when I've been working, thankfully no, that hasn't happened, but people have, come in, oh, we need a first aid. Well, I'm on break. That's fine. I can still do a first aid.
Can you just let me finish my cookies and my cup of tea, and then I'll come and help you?
At no point would I say, oh, sorry, I just have to have this drink first. Like,
How many people are going to die if I don't come right now?
yeah, you get lifeguard. Lifeguard training has to be done every year. And when we're working, we need 2 or 3 updates, like, during the season. Because I only work summer holidays, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
And as part of that, you watch videos from, like, people who have...
Massachusetts?
No.
No.
Clearly not.
I don't
checking.
think
Drowning
people drowning
and-
in Massachusetts are the
Yeah.
sample.
It's very
it's quite
topical
traumatic.
learning for lifeguards.
It's-
I feel
it's-
like it
Sure
should
it
be.
Every training session is like, you're about to watch something traumatic.
Oh.
You have to be prepared to understand that you're about to watch people talking about very small children who have drowned. Like, it's taken very seriously.
Henrietta,
It's
I have a
not-
question for you. Within the context of your training, do they deal with water quality and visibility? Like, are there parameters
Yep.
within which they'd say, look, we don't want anyone in the pool and you must, because then you would be at risk because you can't see.
Absolutely. So we have things like, if it's raining too hard and we can't see the bottom of the pool, everyone has to
Oh,
get
great.
out.
Okay.
If there is glare, so we can't see the bottom of the pool, you have to be moving around as a
There
lifeguard.
is glare.
Glare on the water, like the sun bouncing off the
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm shocked.
No, that's very clever, actually, because you didn't say to close the pool. They just have to move around so their vision...
Yeah, no, but it's a really good one.
Absolutely,
I'm just surprised by
Yeah.
that.
The point is, like, if you can't see the bottom of the pool, you can't lifeguard. Or you can't safely say that you were fully supervising.
Yes. So that's a really good and very clear understanding of what you should do. If I could just share with you some of the story that we're talking about at the moment, which says that the policies is kind of similar to what you're talking about, maybe a little bit different. I just want to get your feedback on this because I think you might just add some real clarity to a horrible, horrible situation. When the crews arrive in early June to clear the pool, there's no vacuum. So the bottom, covered with leaves, sludge and litter, was never clean. The workers add 240,000 gallons of clean water to the dirt and hoped the filters would clean it. The filters failed and the workers were ordered to not add chemicals to clean the water for 10 days, allowing the water in the pool to stagnate to turn pea green. Ever seen that?
That wouldn't happen at my pool. Like,
Exactly.
Let's assume it did, and you turned up to work at a pea green pool. Knowing what you've just said, what would you do?
I would refuse to work, basically. I would say that's unsafe and we can't safely say, yeah, come and swim in our pool, you'll be fine. Because it doesn't sound like it looks safe either. Like, I wouldn't want to go in
You
there.
would not see the bottom of the pool. So you would not have anybody swimming.
No.
Let's assume that you did end up working at a pool that was pea green, and a 9-year-old boy came up and said, I think someone's drowning. What would you do?
At my pool, we're lucky to have radios, so we can communicate with each other constantly. Otherwise, we're also trained. We all have whistles as part of our uniform.
What do you do with them? Call the dogs
Well,
over?
you can whistle to get someone's attention, like another lifeguard.
Like wolf whistle? Like,
We have like actual
No.
whistles. It's not wolf whistling. We have whistles, and they are very loud. And I have whistled people before. Like you know.
You fucker.
what's the
Wow.
normal response when you whistle someone?
What do you want? Stop yelling at me.
Oh, no, sorry, I'm not yelling, I'm just
No,
drunk.
I know. That's
So-
my response.
Oh,
To the
that's
swimmers.
what they say.
I was like, what do you want?
They say,
I love it.
We are very.
they say stop yelling at me, not stop whistling
Well-
at me.
Because you whistle at someone. Normally, you just
And
talk.
then you say, get out.
And then
You
they,
just talk.
stop it, fucker, get
Yeah,
out!
exactly. Basically,
Aha,
you
gotcha.
escalate to that point.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, it's important, I think.
I
It's,
love your insight.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
really,
Yes, I
really,
don't
really
speak for
good.
Life Saving Victoria. I don't speak for the pool that I work at.
No, no.
No,
No,
that's fine.
Understand,
It
understand,
gives us
and
an insight.
No.
well, it's and so also we're not trying to judge Massachusetts or any of this. This is a horrible thing about when people don't take their job
Seriously, yeah.
responsibly or with passion or seriously. So the pool opens with cloudy water on the 25th of June, even though state regulations require lifeguards to sink a black and white disc to the deepest part of the pool to make sure they can see the bottom.
So this pool is opened against its own state's regulations.
Yes.
100%, yes.
Boom.
Okay.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
So-
they couldn't find the black and white disc, so they didn't do that test at all anyway.
I mean, immediately it's the fault of the centre.
Yes.
So, there you go.
Yes.
Problem
Yes.
solved.
Agreed. Yep, I'm glad you said that.
There is a lot that isn't right about this situation. Like, I wouldn't fully put it on the lifeguard, but like,
Yeah, we're not putting on the
no,
lifeguard, but it's
but because I'm a lifeguard, so that's
interesting
where
to
I'm
hear
putting myself.
from a lifeguard's perspective how they would deal with it. And I think your commentary around if I'm on the pool deck or if I can see the pool and someone says someone's drowning, you wouldn't go, I get it, but I'm on the break. Like, come back to me in 15 minutes when I've,
Yeah.
just chilled for a bit, because it's all too much. I don't want to deal with that right now.
Yeah, no, that's the lifeguard's response isn't great, but also the centre is majorly at fault for opening without following their own state regulations.
I've got one question for you, which is probably also relevant. So if you went to the pool with some friends and one of them was looking after a 9-year-old and they never came back, what would you do?
I wouldn't leave without all my friends. Like, I would be clear about when everyone is. But if you're going to the pool together, that's like an event together, and their 9-year-old rocks up, and then that 9-year-old goes, yeah, whoever was responsible for me has disappeared. I'm like, well, where are they? And I would be trying to return the 9-year-old to the person responsible for them.
Do you want to know what Mary Joseph's friends did? So the person who drove her to the pool thought that she'd just walked home from the pool.
What?
Is that a thing?
That's not a thing.
If I was with a group of people, including a child, and we all went to the pool together, and then they disappeared, and the child started saying, yeah, they drowned, they're at the bottom of the pool, I would not assume they've just walked home. And
No, it's not a thing, is it?
she would have...
How did you come to that conclusion?
So, do you...
So judgmental. I can't believe you
Oh, I
think
know. Oh, I just don't know how do you
Boyfriend's
think
not at
that?
pool.
What?
God,
It's really not,
Yeah, no,
not
it's
a great look for
wrong,
her
isn't it?
friends.
It's wrong.
So maybe we should get guest Henrietta to sentence, if she can think of one. What would you want to do to the person who said...
Sorry, I'm on my lunch
They
break.
would
Just
no
on the
longer be
brain.
lifeguards. First of all, I imagine they would no longer be
Yes.
lifeguards. But I think the people that are really at fault here are also the centre for being open.
Nice.
Correct, 100%.
And so what would you say to that
You
centre?
can't.
How would you sentence that centre?
How would you sentence the centre? That's
They're
a
just
great question.
indefinitely closed.
Yep, until
Right.
you sort your filtering system out
And
Absolutely.
and your chlorine system.
And would there be like a, I don't know, you need to hold your breath at the bottom of the 12-foot deep pool for 3 minutes?
No, 3 days.
Or 3 days. I feel like they wouldn't survive either.
Oh, 2.5 tops. I think, it wasn't full 3 days.
You would have to clean the place out, but
But say there's a person, that first person who said, I'm on break. If we were to drag them out and put them under the water and say, how long can you last on your 15-minute break before you drown? So you might say, let's just push his head under the water for, 60 seconds, 90 seconds.
well, no, I won't say that. But I'd say if that person, fell in the water, I would rescue them when my break was done.
That's why we love lifeguards.
Bang, bang.
Even though she doesn't deserve it, you will still save her. That's a fantastic insight, and thank you very much for that.
Yeah, Henny, I think we need to release you now, because anything we say from beyond this point is going to, not want to get you into any trouble.
Yes, but when you
You've been
listen to this in
wonderful, Henrietta.
episode 6 or 7 or whatever it is,
Episode 7.
you can hear how we will trial or how we'll sentence said
Okay.
lifeguards.
I'm looking forward to another cohesive case.
They're so cohesive though, aren't they?
Can't thank you enough for popping on to Trial by One.
It's literally live action. Thank you
Thanks for
so
having
much for
me.
joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Bye.
Henny.
Thanks, Henrietta.
What a legend.
Fuck me.
She's cool.
That just escalated things a whole lot.
What does she do? What does she study, or what's she into? She's a pretty switched on little lady.
She's studying medicine at
Oh, is that all?
She is, yeah.
somewhere.
She's pretty switched on little lady.
No.
Underachiever.
Super smart.
I want you to pick your crime and name your sentence.
I think that the centre manager or management need to be charged, because ultimately the buck should stop with them in terms of whether or not the pool could have been opened. So let's say these people had come in and they hadn't done an adequate job in assessing whether the water was swim ready. So we know it wasn't if it was, pea green. So at that point, the pool shouldn't have been open. The fact that it then continued on, they had all the farcical things that went on with not using the filter, not having access to a vacuum. They didn't have the right equipment to even be able to open the pool because they couldn't look after the pool. So who was ever in charge there needs to be held accountable for the pool being open in the first place. So I think they have to do some time, or,
Right.
there's a crime there. Then I do think that the first lifeguard who said they're on a break when a child had gone to them and said, I think someone's drowning, I think they need to...
Drown?
No. I would never do a
Just checking. I just wanted to see whether you were going to go
I'll leave that to
far
you.
or...
But I do think they need to perhaps do some kind of community service or something that suggests that as a lifeguard, it sets the example that you have to act, you have to be responsible, even if you are on your break, that, you're providing a service to people and it saves lives. And I think that that person needs to...
They shouldn't have a fucking job, Carla, and they should not...
Oh, of course, I assume they'd lose their job, but I think that they also need to
Totally agree.
pay in some way. And I think, I can't imagine that you'd be sent to jail for that, but I think, because it's probably a voluntary position, I would assume, I don't know. Oh, maybe you'd be paid, actually, I don't know. I'm thinking of lifeguards in Australia that are voluntary, but that's the surf life saving. Something's slightly different. The family, I don't quite understand the family or friends dynamic. They just seem to be very laissez-faire with the fact that someone who turned up and was with a child in their group, that doesn't feel right to me. There's something not quite right about that, but I don't quite know how I would sentence it. I just perhaps think they were the absolute worst friends in the world. And then as for the department, head should have rolled there for sure, and I hope that they have huge payouts that have to go to the family, and certainly those 5 children who are without a mother, because the woman could have been saved. If the water had been clear, the lifesaver had have done their job, we wouldn't be having this discussion. That's where I'm at.
Or at least respected by not having to be at the bottom of a pool for...
Up to 3
Like
days.
3
Up to
days.
It just makes me
days.
sick. Yeah.
It's disgraceful. It really is. Schmitty, what are you thinking?
Well, it's a hard one to judge and it's a hard one to sentence because, to Henny's point, nothing about this case is okay. Actually, I want to convict the centre operators, the lifeguards.
Do you give the boys a break who jumped the fence? I'm not
No,
interested in
no.
them.
No,
They're
fuck
free to
them.
go.
No,
They're
they're
free to
free.
go.
Yeah.
Thank God they
They're free to
did.
go. They
Give
just
'em a
found a
thank-
body. And I'm not quite prepared to convict the friends, even though us as friends have lots of anxiety and we
Us
do a lot of
friends?
things. Us as friends, Stuart,
Oh, okay.
would have looked
Diction.
for each other. I'm not prepared to judge other people on that, but I will absolutely say that the people who were responsible for the facility and paid to do a job of life saving should have
that's-
saved lives.
What would you sentence them to?
A ducking.
A
daily
ducking?
Ooh.
Tell me about a ducking. Dunking or ducking?
Ducking. When?
What is that?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
I'm glad you asked.
Back in ye olden days, when people were trying to judge witches, they ducked them. They would submerge people in water, and if a person floated, they were a witch.
Yes, I've heard that. If they survived, they're a witch. Otherwise,
And if they
you
drowned,
didn't need to kill them.
they were not a witch, but unfortunately they drowned.
So everyone dies regardless.
Yeah. In the ducking I'm proposing, it's just a little bit of an uncomfortable moment of you could drown, but we're going to pull you back up and You didn't like
Yeah.
that, did you? Get ready for tomorrow.
Yep. Okay, nice.
Sentenced.
Nice.
Sentenced.
Boom.
Boom.
Job done.
So I've got a couple of things that I think we should discuss. So for me, I know you said that the teenagers for sneaking into the pool at night shouldn't be sentenced. Yeah,
Well, I'm not interested in
I
sentencing
feel like
them,
they
no.
should do a TikTok
No.
video of the shit you might find if you do in fact break into a pool at night. Like,
Jump the fence.
because they're kind of innocent, but I just feel like they should share their story
seems very
because,
fair.
it's not
Yeah,
pleasant.
go and have a look.
The friends for going home without their friend, I just want them to send a message to all of their friends on social media to say, maybe you should block me because
I'm a shit friend.
we might think we're friends, but perhaps we're not
Because
actually
I'm
friends.
actually a shunt. And
Correct.
would you like
Yeah.
a glass of Cabernet?
Because if
Would
you
100%.
if you're actually dying at the bottom of a pool, I might just go, you know what? You've probably walked home and
They're already home.
don't make me get off my rug and look, because it's kind of murky anyway. I'll just go home and I'll talk to you later. The lifeguards, I don't have a good sentence for the lifeguards. Having heard from Henrietta, I just feel like, they're also the other victims. Although I do have a message to people who, when they have a really important job and they're on their break, don't
Do
just
it.
assume because you're on your break, you just don't have to do your job, because
Just do it.
just do your fucking job. And then the Department of Conservation and Recreation, these are the people I hate, because lots of us work really, really, really hard in our jobs. How on earth do you go, I know the water standards aren't correct, but don't put any chemicals in it. And to Stuart's point, I know you shouldn't put chemicals in it, but at some point, we'll fix the filters and then do it. You just go, don't do it for 10 days, and then, oh my God, it's still not perfect. Of course it's not perfect, but then we'll reopen anyway. Like, how do you put the people who work for you in these positions?
There should be a stupidity tax, and we should award it to all of them.
Yeah, I feel like that's a running thing with you, Stuart. Stupidity. I agree.
Fuck me, Schmitty, I tell you.
Well, Clarky, I gotta say, I didn't anticipate that story. I'm still not quite sure where I sit with that story, but it was an absolute cracker. Thank you very much. Carla, how do you feel about that?
I would agree. I didn't know if it was going to take another turn at the beginning. I was feeling suspicious about the family and friends when they didn't react in the way that we thought they would. And I thought, oh, there's something untoward going on here. It does feel it's a frustrating case because
Yeah,
it was just what's it called when it's like a litany of errors that one begets the next, where it's like, oh God, this could have been avoided. This poor woman, 5 children, motherless. It's like, ugh. It's very sad
Yeah,
and
I
incredibly
agree.
frustrating. That was
agree.
the interesting part to it. What a bunch of...
What a bunch of fuckwits. That's right.
I was trying to find something else nice to say.
Thanks for the story, Paul.
Love you all. Hopefully we chat again next week.
Love your work. Thank you very much. Okay,
Thanks, Paul.
bye.
Miss you already.
Bye.
Wish you more.
Bye, guys. Until next
Bye.
time. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.